Good day everyone, I am Jeremy Pabutawan and I am the first reporter of the chapter 3, which is the implementing the curriculum. When we say implementing, it means to carry out or to accomplish. So meaning there will be something to carry out and something that I need to accomplish. Ating curriculum, these are what is taught in the given course or subject. Let's proceed to the module 4, the teacher as a curriculum implementer and the manager. As a teacher, this is one of the major roles that you do in the school. So many of the curricula that you use may have been recommended and written down. So ang task natin as a teacher is to implement what have been recommended and written down. Daily, your plan should be ready for implementation because the success of learning of your students depends on your implementation effort. So there is a minuscule curriculum like your lesson plan or a big one like the K-12 curriculum. Sinabi natin minuscule curriculum, so this is just a small part na ginawa mo in order to implement. As a teacher, you will be both an implementer and the manager of this curricula, which means ikaw ang gumawa, ikaw ang mag-i-implement. Yung nakalagay sa lesson plan mo, everything that you've been planned and designed, everything of it should be put in action. I-implement mo yun lahat. So it is you as teacher who will add more meaning to the various activities in the classroom. So this is what we call teaching styles, kung saan you have to make the day of your learners more interesting, engaging, and unforgettable. Dahil no curriculum should stop at planning or designing phase. It has to be implemented. So now let's proceed to 4.1, implementing the design curriculum as a change process. So most of us, we hear teachers says, here goes again, another curricular change. So meron na namang bagong curriculum. So punong-puno na nga tayo, overloaded na masyado yung ginagawa natin. Why do we have to do this? So those are just the common phrases or voices that we hear from teachers and for those who are curriculum implementers. But as we mentioned earlier, change is inevitable in curriculum development. So meron talagang change and be ready for that change. Kasi bakit nga ba may changes? It is to be relevant or to be time relevant. So we need to change. We need a change for the better. And it can be obviously seen through implementation. Curriculum implementation defined. Following the curriculum models of Tyler, Taba, Saylor, and Alexander or Luis is the next step to curriculum designing, which is curriculum implementing. So this is the phase where teacher actions takes place. It is one of the most crucial process kung saan importanteng process siya in curriculum development. Many educational planners would say a good plan is work half done. If this is so, then the other half of the success of curriculum development is just rest in the hand of the implementer, who is the teacher. So, kinakailangan, if you are going to implement the curriculum, then you give 100% of it. Hindi pwedeng half. Kasi pag half lang, it means it is not well implemented. Saan yung half? And dun lang nagre-rest lang siya sa kamay ng implementer, hindi na i-implement, hindi na apply, hindi na ituturo sa mga learners. Naman kay Ornstein and Hankins in 1998, they defined the curriculum implementation as the interaction between the curriculum that has been written and the persons who are in charge. So according naman kay Ornstein and Hankins, so implementation is interaction between the curriculum and the teacher who are in charge to deliver it. To them, curriculum implementation implies the following. First, shift from what is current to a new or enhanced curriculum. So dito makikita natin yung transition from old to new curriculum. So change in knowledge, actions, attitudes of the persons involved. So may mga changes na kailangan in order to implement the curriculum. So change in behavior using new strategies and resources. The change which requires effort, goals should be achievable. So it requires efforts in order to achieve the intended goal. Lukes and Lieberman 1983 defined curriculum implementation as the trying out of a new practice and what it looks like when actually used in school system. So according naman sa kanila, na yung curriculum implementation daw simply means that implementation should bring desired change and improvement. Classroom context, curriculum implementation means teaching. So kung ano yung nakasulat sa lesson plan, so yun ay kailangan i-implement, kailangan i-put in action. So implementing means using the plan as a guide to engage with the learners. So this is a plan for you in order to guide you to engage with the learners sa teaching and learning process. So kung saan at the end makikita doon yung learning outcomes na kailangan ma-achieve or na-achieve ba. That teaching and that implementation, it involves different strategies. With the support of instructional materials to go with the strategy. So it will be supported with the instructional materials. In a larger scale, curriculum implementation means putting the curriculum into operation. So curriculum implementation takes place in a class, school, district, division, or the whole educational system. Pagdating naman sa higher educational, curriculum implementation happens for the course, a degree, institution, or the whole higher education system. So it requires time, money, personal interaction, personal contacts, and support. So it has many things or aspects that need to be considered para lang ma-implement itong curriculum. Curriculum implementation as a change process. Kurt Lewin, 1951, the father of social psychology, explains the process of change. The model can be used to explain curriculum change and implementation. According sa theory ni Kurt Lewin's educational landscape has two forces. These are driving force and the restraining or resisting force. So when these two forces are equal, the state is equilibrium or balance. Pag sinabi nating driving force, are those who seek for change. Pag sinabing resisting or restraining force, from the word resist or restrain, it prevent change. Kung saan, it just stay the same. The situation, the condition will stay the same. However, when the driving force overpowers the restraining force, ibig sabihin, change will occur. Pag restraining force naman is stronger than the driving force, means change is prevented, which are the situation or condition will stay the same. So yun yung theory ni Kurt Lewin in his force field theory. So meron tayo ditong illustration. The illustration below shows that there are driving force on the left and the resisting force on the right. So kung titingnan nyo yung illustration, there is equilibrium. If the driving force is equal to the restraining force, will change happen? Do you think there will be curriculum change in this situation? So in the driving force, we have the government intervention, society's values, technological changes, knowledge explosion, administrative support, and equilibrium and the center. On the left side is the restraining force, fear of the unknown, negative attitude to change, tradition, values, limited resources, and obsolete equipment. So let's give an example like the government intervention. So the government signed the 10533 or the implementation of the K-12 curriculum. So therefore, we can change our curriculum because there is an increase in driving force. However, in the left side, if the restraining force also increasing, then the implementing of new curriculum is prevented. Because according to Lewin, change is better if the restraining force decrease rather than increasing the driving force. Now, how do we decrease restraining forces? We have here the fear of the unknown. So, kinakailangan i-explain natin sa mga magulang, sa mga parents, kung bakit nga ba babaguhin yung curriculum na meron. And why do we need to adopt the new or the K-12 curriculum? And another example na lang is kung paano ba i-address na kulang yung equipment, kulang yung gamit na meron sa school. So, the government will be able to supply kung ano yung mga kakailanganin sa school, kakailanganin in that institution in order to support the learning and teaching process. Now, let's take a look on the different changes in curriculum. McNeil in 2000 categorized curriculum change as follows. Number 1, substitution. So the current curriculum will be replaced or substituted by a new one. Sometimes we call this a complete overhaul. Example na lang dito is changing an old book to entirely new one, not merely a revision, but to change it wholly. Next is alteration. In alteration, there is a minor change to the current or existing curriculum. Halimbawa na lang dito instead of using a graphing paper for mathematics teaching, this can be altered by using a graphing calculator. So, number 3, restructuring. Building a new structure would mean major change or modification in the school system. These are the degree program or educational system. So, using an integrated curriculum for the whole school for K-12 requires the primary and secondary levels to work as a team. So, another example is a curriculum that will be restructured when there is a significant involvement of parents in the child's instead of leaving everything to the teachers. So using the in-school, off-school, or blended curriculum is an example of restructuring. So in this part, did involve the parents in child's learning. So hindi lang lahat kay teacher, kailangan pagdating sa bahay, nandun din yung guidance ng parent. For perturbations, there are changes that are disruptive, but teachers have to adjust to them within a fairly short time. For example, if the principal changes the time schedule because there is a need to catch up with the national testing time or the dean, so the teacher has to shorten schedule to accommodate unplanned extracurricular activities. So dito naman, konting pagbabago lang pero hindi pwedeng ika-cancel. Like for example, gagawa pa rin ng time. So may ibabawas sa time, babawasan lang but still nandun pa rin yung learning. Number 5, value orientation. To McNeil, this is a type of curriculum change. Perhaps this classification will respond to shift in the emphasis that the teacher provides which are not within the mission or vision of the school or vice versa. Tulad halimbawa ng when new teachers who are recruited in religious schools give emphasis on academics and forget the formation of values or faith, they need a curriculum value orientation. Likewise, all teachers in the public school undergo teacher induction program, which is a special curriculum for newly hired teachers. Regardless of the kind of change in curriculum and implementation, the process of change may contain 3 important elements. As a process, curriculum implementation should be developmental, participatory, and supportive. It should be developmental in the sense that it should develop multiple perspectives, increase integration, and make learning autonomous, create a climate of openness and trust, and appreciate the firm strength of the teacher. There should be teacher support in trying new tasks, reflection on the new experiences, and challenge. So, pag sinabi nating autonomous si teacher, meron siyang freedom to learn sa bagong new curriculum kasi hindi naman talaga madali na mula sa old curriculum na spoon feeding to new curriculum na kung saan you're just going to facilitate your students.
So, kailangan na sa teacher, kailangan ma-identify mo kung saan pa yung mga bagay na need mong i-develop.
So, there are simple stages in the developmental change process for the teacher. First is the orientation and preparation. So, the initial use is very mechanical or routinary. However, next is participatory. So, other stakeholders like peers, schools, leaders, parents, and curriculum specialists are very necessary. So characteristics of teacher styles, commitment, willingness to change, skills, and readiness are critical to implementation. This should be coupled with organizational structure, principal style, student population, characteristics, and other factors. The involvement and participation of these factors encourage the sense of ownership and accountability. So the participation of each factors build a learning community which is very necessary in curriculum implementation. Number 3, it is supportive. Material support like supplies, equipment, and conducive learning environment like classrooms and laboratories should be made available. Likewise, human support is very much needed. So the school leader or head should provide full school or instructional support to the implementation of the new curriculum. They too have to train to understand how to address curriculum change as part of their instructional as well as management functions. So, kita natin na very important talaga yung supportive kasi hindi mag-work fully yung new curriculum is if it is lack of supports. Most importantly is the time. So time is an important commodity for a successful change process. For any innovation to be fully implemented, period of 3 to 5 years to institutionalize a curriculum is suggested. So kailangan talaga bigyan ng time. Support from peers, principals, external stakeholders will add to the success of implementation. So sinasabi with the support of peers, principals, and other stakeholders, makakadagdag yon sa succession ng implementation of the new curriculum. So when the teachers share ideas, work together, solve problems, create new materials, and celebrate success, more likely that curriculum implementation will be welcome. So therefore, in implementing curriculum, there are things that are need to be considered, and it should be equal and or balanced, wherein it needs support and participation in order for a successful implementation of curriculum.